Reborners, my name is Karen, and this is Making Dolls with Karen. We're back with Everly. She's had her bake, she's had her 05s, and she's had her warm blush, and we're ready now to put the blush on her. And I have dipped my brushes, so they're all just wet. I finally remembered to dip my brushes. So now we're going to paint her as best we can. And when she comes out this time, I got her hair in my mouth. I'm hoping she looks a little more like a baby instead of a doll. The eyes help. On the open-eyed dolls, the eyes help to make them look a little more real. But she just has an unnatural look to her face, I think. And it makes her look like a doll to me. She doesn't look like a baby coming alive. She looks like a doll that's being well painted. That's all I can say. And I wouldn't recommend this kit unless, I don't know, if you wanted to make an ethnic baby, you got to jump on it because it's darker already. It's not all the way to the color that an ethnic kit would be. Bountiful Baby used to have a lot of ethnic kits. There would be biracial this one and biracial that one. But they discontinued them. I guess they weren't popular. More people were taking the Caucasian kits and making the ones that didn't have the biracials, and making biracials themselves. And so these kits were not popular, and so they discontinued them. And so they don't have any more that. And I remember getting one on purpose. It was for my. I have a niece that has a little daughter that's biracial, and not that biracial kids have to have biracial dolls. It's not that at all. But I think every kid should have one doll at least that represents them in some kind of way. And if you're dark skinned, you don't want a bunch of. I mean, yeah, they play with light skinned dolls too, just like light skinned kids play with dark skinned dolls too. But they don't want all their dolls like that. I wanted to have one special doll. I've given every child in my family just about it a doll, and it in some way, like if they had blonde hair, I gave it blonde hair, like that, and it in some way represented them. And not that it looked like them or anything, because you can't really get dolls that are that specific. But if they were fair skinned and had blonde hair and blue eyes, well, I made it fair skinned with blonde hair and blue eyes, that kind of way. And so I wanted her to have one too that represented her. So I ordered one of those biracial kits. Now it's really dark. It's way darker than this doll, but and it's dark with a different color. It's more, I don't, for lack of being able to really describe it, it's not brown. It's more like it's gray. And when you color it, well, you're a jump ahead on the color, so you don't have to put so much paint on it. I tried to make Tegan, which is just a little Caucasian baby, into biracial, and I did make it. I got there, but it was so hard. It was hard because I didn't know what to put next. The colors were just not changing her enough for her to look like she was a dark-skinned baby. I mean, she did look a little too dark to be a white baby, but now I don't know what exactly she was supposed to look like. I mean, at the color she was at that moment. I don't know what to call her, but she didn't look black at all to me. She looked like somebody's failed attempt to do black. That sounds funny, but it's really not. And so I just called my niece, who is an expert at doing it. She knows how to do it so well. A different niece, but I taught her to make dolls, and then she flew with it. She really did. She became a really good artist. But the thing is she quit because of rheumatoid arthritis. She couldn't do it. It hurt too much. And so, but she advised me. I showed her pictures, and she goes, okay, you're going to need to use purple. And I was going, okay, purple? How's that going to help? She said, believe me, it's going to help. That's how I learned that purple was a darkening color. This was some years ago, and I was like, I didn't use purple on my dolls. And she said, get out that eyelid purple and use that. Okay, well, I had some, so I did. And and then she said, after you do that, put a couple more coats of that, whatever color I was using, whatever darkness of skin tone I was using. She said, put on a couple more coats of that, and then mix up some burnt umber and put that on there. And so I was doing just what she said, and she turned out kind of good, I thought. Um, I bought some of that really curly black hair that they have at Dolls by Sandy, and it made her some great looking little black baby hair. And she was so cute. Oh my goodness. I, I had her for the longest though, and she had bunches and bunches of watchers, but it just took forever for her to sell. So I didn't make another one. So I don't know. Maybe the people who were looking at her thought she didn't look good. I don't know. I'm not an expert on what little black babies are supposed to look like. Um, I'm not even an expert on what little white babies are supposed to look like. It sounds funny, but it's not. Uh, in order to learn a little bit more about what little white babies are supposed to look like, my son and daughter-in-law a year ago adopted a baby, and I took a long time staring at that baby because I went back and looked at pictures of my babies, and they never, not in one single picture did they look like they were modeled anywhere. My kids just were not modeled. They weren't even modeled when they were first born. First time I laid eyes on them, they looked a little red, that was all. And after that, they just looked creamy white. I don't know. They just were. Well, my one son was a redhead, and so he was pale as all get out. Pale baby. And my other son was a blonde, and he wasn't much darker, let me tell you. Them little redheaded kids really are very, very fair skinned, though. Even more so than a blonde headed child. So I had a blonde and a redhead, and they were just almost white as snow. They just didn't have any modeling to them. That's why I said I don't remember my babies being modeled. It's because they weren't. I looked at multiple pictures and no modeling. Now my little granddaughter, she was modeled up there at times. At times she was modeled. I think it has to do with them being cold or the way they're sitting. Maybe they're not getting enough circulation or something. I don't know. But she wasn't even. She was very fair too, and not too modeled at all. So not every baby is modeled. That's what I have to say. Oh, that must be the oven. My sister turned it on to heat it so she could warm up them sliders I made the other day. They're just not good if the bread part isn't a little bit crunchy like toast. No, not crunchy, but you know, toasty, I guess is what I'm looking for. And after they sit, I guess they get less toasty. I don't know. I have no idea. I made them once. This is the first time I made them. I went by a recipe and I made sliders. And she said they were good. I was unable to eat because my shot is still making me nauseous, even today. So I was unable to eat. I took a nausea pill, so maybe I can eat later. If this comes out right, this will be her last layer, but we will be back for another episode to another part, or whatever you want. I used to call them episodes, but makes it sound like it's a TV show. Another part where we put her magnet and stuff in, you know, that kind of stuff. We'll put the glue on her rims and all that, and then we'll be finished with her. So I'm going to take this cleaner one now and go all over again. I usually don't make kits that are this color. Neve is also this color. I made him, but he seemed to come out pretty good. She's coming out looking, I don't know, I don't like her at all. Maybe when she's finished, I'm gonna like her better, but there's a lot of dolls I don't like in transition like this. I go, oh no, this one's not doing it for me. And then when they're finished, I go, well, she's cute after all, you know. After you get the glue on her mouth and everything, it might look a little more real. I don't know, she just looks fake. She looks like a very, very fake doll. When she gets her eyes in, she'll look a little better too. She has a pretty color. It's just her face just looks so... It's possible that no amount of paint's gonna make her look like a baby because her sculpt looks fake to me. Okay, all the brushes in the blush line have been dipped. I'm gonna get Everly back in the oven. Well, if I get the lid on this now. And get her a bake, and then we'll be moving on to finish Lucy. Lucy is still drying so she can have her bake on her sealer. And after that, I think we're moving on to layers on her too. This is chicken broth. I'm supposed to be trying to drink it because you need nourishment even when you feel sick. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop the video now and ask everybody to please like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.